telling everybody the good news, the core of the joy, and I appreciate that.
She usually gets you there by preaching from across the top.
What's going on, y'all? This is Josh from Team SUPERSHOE, and welcome back to another episode of The Shoe Show. We are not talking about loafers. No, we are talking about the one and only Corey LaJoie, the super shoe of NASCAR, and just anything NASCAR related. Super pumped to have you guys here once again. It is April 7th, or whenever you decide to watch this episode, but it's after April 7th at 7 p.m., and we're bringing on a couple of friends from the Shoe Show that's been on before. First off, TJ Tiu. He is a longtime Team SUPERSHOE member. He's been a member of the month. I brought him on for the July 7th instead of July 4th episode last year for his he is a veteran for the Air Force, and I get to catch up with him a little bit out in St. Louis, and also talk to our buddy, the CEO of Off Axis Paint, Mr. Greg Stumpff. He comes over and we all talk about just the current racing, catch up a little bit, see how things are going, drink a little bit of whiskey, and we talk about the season so far. And we watch a video to kind of get us hyped for Martinsville. And hopefully Martinsville is going to be a killer race. And we finally got this short track package figured out. Otherwise, guys, I appreciate y'all. If you're listening on the audio podcast, please rate, review, all that stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, share, subscribe, comment. It means a lot that you guys are hanging out with us. And if you haven't ventured off to Facebook and at Team SUPERSHOE, it's a group on Facebook. That's where all of this has started. Otherwise, guys, y'all enjoy my buddies TJ and Greg, and let's talk about some racing. All right, y'all, we are back, and we're hanging out with a couple of friends that have been on the Shoe Show a few times. Mr. TJ Tiu and Greg Stumpff. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing good, man. Are you still stationed out in St. Louis, right?
Yep. So, east of St. Louis in O'Fallon, Illinois, just Air Force Base in the middle of cornfields.
Nice. Greg, how you doing, man?
I'm good. We're finally through the dreaded Daytona rush, obviously, in the shop and through the West Coast swing. So now we're kind of settling in. So it's a little nicer in our shop and ready to, get the season going, I guess.
Yeah. Is that the normal rush for you guys? Is like the preseason and like getting ready for Daytona?
Yeah. I mean, anyone that doesn't know, like our shop paints helmets for most of the Cup field. I probably, a quarter of Xfinity and trucks at ARCA, whatever. So our off season is extremely busy, super short for us. It feels like it's literally 2 weeks long, but we try to start everyone's Daytona stuff in October before the season even ends. So we're literally from October, just the entire winter, never see outside, just as many hours as we can possibly put in. So and that just relates to, everyone's production days, different sponsors. You got to have all this stuff ready, not just for Daytona, but, commercial shoots, hero card shoots, whatever, all the top guys do. So luckily I have a team behind me of 5 guys in the shop, and that makes it a lot easier on me. So, but again, it's a ton of hours, but we obviously love what we do. So it's nice.
And curious, I was getting with you about coming on the show just to talk about racing, and you were kind of telling me about your normal schedule. Do you normally go out to the races on the weekend?
Yeah. So I went to Daytona. I took a couple weeks off. I didn't really feel like flying back and forth from West Coast swing this year, but if it didn't have to. Obviously, I went to Atlanta to watch Corey race, and then headed to road course season here soon, where I kind of do the secondary spotting for Reddick, Sam Hunt, and Tricon this year. So that's always cool, just kind of feed the competition side of myself, back from working on race teams and feeling like you're at least a little bit of a part of a win or a good run or something like that. So I know absolutely I'm not gonna say absolutely zero, but very little about asphalt racing. All my dirt background is fine, but spotting's about the only thing they'll let me do. I don't want to turn any wrenches on any cars down there.
Gotcha. And TJ, man, are you planning on going to Gateway this year?
So unfortunately, I'm going to be crewing for my cousin who's racing a mountain bike in Kansas. So I'll be out this year in Gateway. I do plan on going to Kansas. It's a 4 hour drive, and possibly the Chicago street course.
Oh, nice.
So we'll see how that goes. Just kind of depending on my own racing too. So I do track days and I do autocrossing. So that kind of we'll see how that meshes up with my schedule.
And what do you
How do
mean?
you crew for sorry, I'm very hung up on how do you crew for a mountain bike? Do you give them fuel? Do you change tires? What are we doing?
So on a long race, you just gotta get them fed.
Oh.
Changing water bottles. Sometimes changing shoes when it gets too dirty. So lots to do. But the primary thing is just making sure that my cousin is fed. Trying to feed him every
how long
hour.
are these races? How long is the race?
So this one I think is 105 miles long.
Holy smokes! I'm out.
So and we plan on having him eat every hour.
Smart.
So yeah, just kind of dotting myself along the course and making sure that I'm there with either banana or a Celsius.
Wait, hold on.
Do you physically? Okay, yeah, go. You're good.
No. I was just trying to catch up. So the autocross, this is not like dirt ramps in the infield of Daytona, right? This is something totally different.
So yeah, so I race with the SCCA autocross. So I have a Mazda RX-8 that I've built. I've been autocrossing for the past 12 years. And then competitively, I would say the past 7 years at the national level. So,
Dang.
But I mean, nothing like big time auto racing, because I lose more money than what I make.
I'm still hung up on, do you just feed him? Are you feeding him bars? Are you like chewing up the banana and like baby birding it to him? Like he's, just so much energy lost. You're like, what's going on?
Like you can't lose any more energy than chewing, right? I mean, that's how pit crews get fast. You got to be creative in what you're doing. So if you got to mama bird it, you got to mama bird it.
I love it.
I feel like we need video.
We definitely need proof about what goes down.
Yeah.
That's PG-13.
Well, cool. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on the shoe show once again. Kind of brought you on just to talk about current racing and what's been going on. Last time I was on the show last month, I caught us all up until Phoenix. So I was going to kind of talk about Phoenix, Atlanta. We are recording this before COTA, so I do not know how good or bad Corey does or anything exciting that happened that weekend, but I'm sure it'll be something fun to talk about as well. But today we're going to talk about Phoenix and Atlanta. So Phoenix, I'm going to show some highlights while we're all talking. When I do all the editing, one of my favorite parts of the Phoenix weekend was the prayer. They said, "Amen, play ball," and it reminded me of like Christmas Vacation, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
The racing itself, I was kind of expecting better, considering that it was this new package that they're working for the road course and the short track racing. It was very stretched out. I mean, that's kind of what you get with Phoenix. And they had like that new tiny spoiler and a few other things that is new to this car. William Byron got his win number 2. Good for him. And Corey finished 26 which, not the sexiest of finishes, but it's still, he's on a hell of a streak. So I'm hoping that COTA and going forward, he's still going to continue to be close to 20th. And that was when Hendrick and Denny Hamlin got their penalties, and I guess Colleague as well. As we're recording this, there is no resolution. I'm expecting that at least Hendrick, I'm expecting them to win. My personal opinion, just because I do feel as though, although, it's Hendrick, you got your guy, Chad Knaus, and their history of, stretching the rules. I feel like that was just, it was something that was not particularly altered. It was just put on, and, that there could be faults there. And they seem to be very confident in their criticism, the Hendricks do. So wanted to ask you guys, the penalties for the intentional rough racing. We have Denny Hamlin, who came on his podcast after the race and said that, oh yeah, I intentionally wrecked Chastain, and then they came out and penalized him for it on his podcast that's ironically titled after getting in trouble with NASCAR. Wanted to ask you guys, like, where do you think is the right move where's the right call for NASCAR? Because, you got these guys, either they're going to rough each other up. He didn't wreck him. He didn't toast the guy. He just roughed him up enough to put him in the wall. You have that versus, fighting on pit road, which is also a really hard thing for these drivers to do, because of just the amount of clutter and people and sponsors and the crew guys don't want the drivers to get hurt because that's their money, right? So wanted to ask you guys, what's your opinion on this? Like, should the drivers be penalized for the rough racing, not wrecking, but rough racing?
Go for it, TJ. It's all you.
Well, so when you're talking rough racing, right? These guys are the best of the best when it comes to stock car racing, and to me, let them handle it. They can handle themselves on track, and they talk about policing a lot, and let them police themselves. So I think we don't need any intervention at that level when you're talking about rough racing. Now, right hooking somebody or something doing egregious, that's a different story. But rough racing, no, I think let them play where they want to play and let them sort it out.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. Obviously, the parts deal, I mean, Chad seemed very, very confident in the way he talks. That, or he's just a really good poker player, because he had no hesitation in his voice or facial expressions when he talked to the media. So Chad's an intense guy. He scares me every time I see him at the track. So other than that, Denny, I've never really been a huge Denny fan. Not that I don't like him. I just, he's just another driver in the field, and we don't paint his helmets, so I don't pay attention to him a whole lot. But this podcast he has, I've listened to it every single week because I cannot wait to hear what he has to say on Monday morning. So it's been great. I love it because it's so much different than, door bumper clear or Dale Jr.'s deal. It's straight raw emotion, and you get it as soon as he gets out of the car. It's not like a Wednesday deal or anything like that. As soon as he gets out of the car, he records this podcast, and you get these raw emotions. And I really think NASCAR kind of needs to stay out of, listening to that and basing their decision off of that. It needs to be like an at-track decision. Sure, if it's like a Vegas situation where Bubba came back down the track and just hooked Kyle Larson last year, like, yeah, let's look into that a little bit. But, it's not like he trashed Ross. It's not like he ruined his day. The car was still rolling. It's not like it's in the garage, for 40 laps. So, I think both kind of need to be overturned. I think we need more rivals, in the sport. I love the Chastain Denny rivalry. Ross could be a rival with anyone in the field, honestly, but he's obviously chosen Denny as his main one, and I hope it works out well for him. That they both have a bunch of years in front of them of racing, and Denny's great, says his mind. I love that about him. Justin Marks obviously backs anything Ross does, and I love that about the team. So, I think it's great. I think it's gonna be super boring if everyone just goes around there and doesn't touch each other and, basically is F1 at Monaco. I don't want to see that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, NASCAR has a job to do. They have to do their officiating where, there has to be a line that's drawn. It's just whether or not the line is whether or not it's too close to just normal racing. And it makes me wonder, again, I'm gonna throw it to you guys. Do you feel like NASCAR wants the drivers to lie? Because these drivers, they do go out, they voice their opinions. I mean, Corey, ironically had harsh words about Hamlin back in his old podcast days. And in general, you have a history from, Chastain, whether or not you believe his words or not. I particularly don't. Of last year when he got out of a car, one of the races, one of the times he got into a scuffle, and he said that, I just need to learn how to drive, and and then he said, a lot of people owe me on the track, and I don't know truly if he meant it or not, but you have a lot of history with that. You have back in Logano days when him and Stewart, where he was feuding with Tony, and just kind of like, he, for a long time, Logano did not own up to, like, yeah, that's who I am. When I put this helmet on, I'm a different person, and that's who I am. I'm a bull, and instead he would come out and be apologetic and say, I didn't mean to do that. And then you got people like Harvick who just won't say anything at all. They're happy Harvick, where he just smiles and says, I don't know. But do you feel like NASCAR wants that? Do you think NASCAR doesn't want drivers to be honest? Because let's face it, these guys are never going to stop rough racing.
I can't believe that I continue to make the same mistakes and overdrive the corners and drive into guys. I like had time under
I don't think
caution
you need to have the
get
boys
reset.
have at it conversation anymore.
And we go
but
green, and I drive
I
into
definitely
somebody.
think
It's terrible.
we can't just have a penalty every time somebody touches a door out there.
Yeah.
Well, to me, I wouldn't say necessarily NASCAR wants them to lie, but I think to the core of NASCAR and NASCAR leadership on the competition side, they're still all a bunch of racers, right? And racers will always be racers. And I say leave it at the track and let him be. In this case, Denny's was not at the track, unfortunately. But yeah, let him be.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, NASCAR is, to me, they are the best form of auto racing because, you have the ability to be rough. You have the ability. I love it, and it's not that I want to see Corey get roughed up, but it's just it brings so much more excitement to the sport. You got F1 and IndyCar, and they're awesome to watch as well. But those cars you wreck, and like you're risking death. And not that NASCAR doesn't have horrible stories like that, but NASCAR is built around the drama. I mean, you have the Daytona 500, aired back in whatever the 60s, where the big fight happened. I mean, that was a draw, and it still is. You need to have those beefs. You need to have those clashing personalities. So, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Speaking of,
I'm always waiting for someone to throw a helmet at somebody. Always.
Yeah. Do you feel you feel extra excited or proud when you see your helmet thrown and some good airtime?
Yeah, that's all I want. The guys are always like, I'm never dropping this or throwing it. I'm like, no, I want you to. So I have a running thing with all my drivers. Like, if they chuck a helmet, I at least get it back for the shop. Like, I'll fix it, do whatever, but it goes back in the shop on the rack for sure.
So you would be team wear your helmet during the fight, then team take your helmet off, right?
No. I'm all for taking the helmet off during a fight, but if you want to take it off and Tony Stewart chuck it down the pit road at a car, coming at you, I'm all for that all day long. Now you gotta take the helmet off in your fight. You can't do that. Come on.
Yeah. All right.
Or you can take it off. You can take it off and slam it on the roof of your car on your glasses like Harvick did.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of good, interesting and charismatic personalities filling in the NASCAR garage, we will talk about Atlanta. And the first person I wanted to talk about is Mr. Josh Williams. Never knew this guy before this weekend. And the only reason I watch it is because I love the Atlanta racetrack. It's kind of like a new super speedway. But I loved it. They told him to park it, so he parked it. And then he walked down walked the grass into the pit road. And I remember there was a video where he was out there and laughing about it. And he was like, "Fine me, I can't pay it anyway because it's such a small team." And I just thought that was great. And the mullet and everything, like he is NASCAR. I felt like that was the epitome right there. So, but Atlanta, the Cup race, it was a good race. It was really a big fight for the high side. Towards the end, they obviously got 2 lanes going, and three wide didn't particularly work too well, but unless one was dropping back.
Yeah, I was gonna say it worked for Eric Jones for sure. I don't know how.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But man,
that third middle line, I don't know what was is like turbo.
What an exciting race. And man, that is so cool. It kind of feels like a old school Daytona where slingshots, slingshot engaged, and Logano won after Corey gave him a big push, and I think he got one more push to ultimately get the win. And Corey, after the race, they asked him about it, and he says it just so happened that his big ass was in front of me, and I had to push him. So I thought that was that was pretty funny. And Corey is getting all this cool attention, and he said our day is going to come, and it's again really cool because he finished 5th a year ago. I don't know where he finished the second race last year, but he was second, on the last lap before he got wrecked, and or whatever you'd want to call it, and then 5th or 4th again. So I'm excited for the next Atlanta race. So I wanted to ask you guys, do you feel as though this year is turning into another 2022 as far as how many winners that we've had so far? We've only had one double, which is Byron. Do you feel as though we're going to have another playoff filled with 16 race winners?
I think you'll see, obviously Coda's already happened, but I'm going to assume that a new guy is going to win Coda, like an AJ Allmendinger or, any of these other Hendrick cars. Bowman was quick last time we were there. I think you're going to see some new stuff win at these road courses. And then we're, obviously we go back to Daytona and Talladega a couple more times. I don't think any car is going to be crazy dominant. I think everything is just really equal right now. Everything's still trying to figure out stuff. I thought Harvick was going to win that Phoenix race all the way up until that last caution, and a lot of people never would have guessed that. So I think you just have a really talented field right now, and I think the cars are super equal. So yeah, I think it's the coolest thing. It's so crazy to look back a couple of years ago and say, oh, we had the big 3, and 3 guys were winning every single race, and if a new guy won, it was like almost unheard of. So it's just crazy that this is where it is now, and that it's such a roulette wheel of who's going to win every week, and I love it. It's cool.
I don't think it's going to be a repeat of 2022. Just seeing, we're a couple races in, but I think you'll see Hendrick and Penske a lot in the front. I haven't seen much of the Toyotas yet. You saw Denny in Daytona. You saw him in Atlanta. But I think we have less winners than last year. You'll have a couple outliers out there. You already saw Ricky Stenhouse. But yeah, it's not going to be a 2022. These guys are figuring out.
I don't know, man. Reddick was up there leading the top line, though. He could have just pulled down in front of Logano. He almost won Phoenix, so I don't know. I think it's super super close. I don't think it'll be as much as 2022. I don't think we're going to be like in danger of having a winner be outside of the playoffs. But man, I think we're going to have a lot of winners again.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as much, like you said.
Yeah.
But you're going to see repeat winners this year.
I agree. Yeah. William Byron, he's been unstoppable. It's been crazy to see that. Yeah. I don't know if that's his iRacing kicking in finally or just, growing up a little bit or what, but gosh, he's freaking killing it. It's awesome. Yeah. Might be his helmet. I don't know. It might be his helmet. I could be biased. I don't know.
That'd be, that's an extra five horsepower right there.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
Corey, or the lightweight paint.
Yeah, right. Corey needed a little bit more. We should have painted his helmet with copper. We would have been fine.
You need next time you need to put like some red and blue and whatever, highlight yellow, all the stuff that you'd put for William Byron and Hendrick. Put that on first and just don't tell him, and then just put the copper
Put that on
stuff.
his.
Yeah, just don't tell him.
Over it. Yeah.
Later on in the year when he makes the playoffs, then
Just
say, hey, by the
show
way,
him
it was all me. So
show him the photos of before. Yeah, we could definitely do that.
yeah. And not to burst the bubbles of all the Corey LaJoie fans and Team SuperShoe out there, but I would agree that this year, if it's not 16 winners, it's going to be close to it, and which that means that you might have 12 winners, and then the top 4 in points that haven't won. I really, unless Corey goes out and kills it, Daytona, Atlanta, a track where he can go and actually get his first win. Man, I don't know. I don't see us making the playoffs, but I am enjoying it while it lasts. I like that he's getting some attention. He's starting to become a fan favorite, or the underdog that everybody's rooting for. So kind of want to ask you guys, what do you think about Corey's role as of now? Last race being Atlanta, he's kind of become the underdog story of NASCAR. Do you think that he is going to be rising even more in popularity this year?
I'm enjoying it, right? So I go to Sirius XM every Tuesday now to listen to what the fans say when he goes on track. Obviously, listen to the other podcasts to see what they think about him, and then I'm very big on Reddit, and Reddit right now is very big on Corey. So we'll see how it goes. He did mention something on Sirius that made me feel good about cheering for him. He and Jeff Dickerson had a conversation, especially going into Atlanta, where he's had a lot of success. And he's like, put everything behind you that's happened before in Atlanta, because you still have to execute a race. And he was like, yeah, it put everything in perspective, that at the end of the day, every race is a new race. And I'm going to take it that way. It doesn't matter what success I had before. But I am loving all this media attention. I'm reading Twitter a lot and Reddit, so it's fun.
Yeah, he's crushing it, man. My buddy Johnny D, he runs the Chevy stage out there every week, and the crowds just keep getting bigger and bigger for Corey. Like when you get a no-name guy, it's kind of whatever crowd you have left over from Chase Elliott or whoever's out there, giving the interviews. But Corey has some fans now. I think the Stacking Pennies podcast is huge with NASCAR. And what's not to like about him? He's a likable guy. So he's easygoing. Every time he's ever at the track, he makes time for every fan to sign autographs and gives great interviews. And he's a hard racer and he's hungry for wins. So it's been a long time. It's hard. I feel like when you go from like K&N and you're winning races and you start struggling and get into the Cup Series and you want it so bad, and then when you run so well at a place like Atlanta, you can just taste it, And I hate it for him that he hasn't gotten a win yet, but him and that whole team, they are fighting just as hard as anyone, if not harder. So it's definitely coming for him.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see what the rest of the season holds. I'm hoping that I was actually messaging a teammate of his that we've kept in touch with since the shoe show from when they came on, and they were telling me about how much time they spend now on the simulator. They not only get the Chevy sim, but they run sims, I guess, on their computers or what have you until like 1 a.m. Like when they're on the West Coast swing, a few of the team out there stayed out there, worked from Vegas to Phoenix, and they worked on the Phoenix car, and they talked about how we've been working on this car every day until 1-2 a.m. And so it's just really cool, and it almost feels like this year is becoming a year where everybody's kind of like 110% in, and so hopefully it's a good year where the ultimate challenge will be whether or not how long they can prep these cars to be ready for every weekend, because this isn't NASCAR from 4 years ago. This is NASCAR 2023, where this weekend we're going to COTA, and they get an actual practice hour, I think. But most weekends you get, like Atlanta, they got no practice. And I think most places, either you get 15 minutes of practice before qualifying starts, or you don't get practice at all. So, and that's something that's tough on a small team, where they're hoping, their setup and their estimation on the computer and all that is correct. So that's going to be the biggest challenge for them, is whether or not they can keep up with it, because obviously they've shown that they can keep setting these cars up to be, at least a top 20 contending car, and they're still putting, 30th place money into it. They've grown the team throughout the years, but they're still capitalizing. So hopefully it's continues to they continue this trend. Not that I think that he's going to get fourth at Coda, but continue the trend of capitalizing, gaining money out of the money that they put into it. So yeah, we'll see. I was going to bring you guys on and talk about a race coming up after this show comes out, Martinsville, one of everybody's favorite racetracks, and kind of wanted to debate whether or not Martinsville and the short track package is fixed. So, the short track package debut at Phoenix just a few weeks back. They decreased the downforce, and so there's a lot less grip. They have a 2-inch spoiler instead of 4-inch spoiler. The diffuser was altered in a few different areas, and they have 30% reduction in downforce, and they're at a point in the downforce that they haven't been at since maybe 2000, somewhere around there. And a year ago, the Martinsville race was they went 400 laps without a single green flag pass for the race lead. Byron took the lead on a pit stop and led 212 laps en route to victory lane. And then the fall race really wasn't much better, besides the Hail Melon that we all loved, and besides the drama of the playoffs. Everybody was kind of in crunch mode to try to get into the playoffs for the top 16. But do you? I wanted to ask you guys: do you see Martinsville being better this year? Do you see this short track package, finally, doing better?
I'm just there for the hot dogs usually. So as long as those are warm and pink, I'm good with it.
Let me get your honest opinion. Are those better than Nathan's? Better? Are they the best?
No, I don't think so. But I think it's the atmosphere and how many you can eat. I mean, they're fine. They're good hot dogs. It's not like they're terrible hot dogs, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of loading a hot dog up with a lot of items. I like just a solid hot dog and ketchup. So maybe that's why it's not the best. But I love going to Martinsville though. I like with the train and just the hills. It's an easy drive from here in Charlotte, so everyone kind of just drives and enjoys the trip instead of having to go get on a plane and doing the normal weekend things. So it's kind of nice. So as far as the racing goes, I'm always a fan of high horsepower, low downforce. So I think Martinsville will always kind of just be a freight train, and around the bottom, you're never really going to see anything more than that. It's such an old track. If it didn't have so much history or anything like that, we probably wouldn't go there anymore. But it's like F1 Monaco. There's no passing there, but why do they still go there? It's the history. It's the it's what we do. You're not just going to take that track off, so I don't know if there's a whole lot of changing it. I don't know if it even matters. People are still going to show up to eat hot dogs and watch cars go in circles. So but I'm a big fan of the high horsepower. I want to see them blow the tires off of it, conserve tires anywhere that's getting worn out. Don't repave anything. I love watching people slip and slide and having to save their stuff, and who's going to be good on long runs, who's going to be actually good on short runs. I'm a big fan of that kind of racing. I just don't think you're ever going to get that at Martinsville.
So Martinsville will be essentially the second true test of this package, right? because Phoenix is kind of an in-betweener, and then you'll go to Richmond. So you'll have a test of that package. But Greg is right. It'll probably be a one-lane racetrack, but for those that want to stay out, they'll stay at the bottom, but those on tires, which is going to freight trim them even on lane 2. So I think that's what's going to happen. Speaking of the short track package, though, are we going to get rid of those mud flaps? They got rid of
they're
the
not great. They're not great.
But the mud flaps, I don't know. But I do like the short track package. I've heard a lot of great press about it, especially from the drivers saying it is a step in the right direction. I hopped on iRacing a while ago, and they put the Gen 4 car with 900 horsepower, and that was insane. So hopefully, it's a step to that direction where you can barely touch the throttle on a 30-lap run, and you're blowing the rear tires off.
Yeah, I'm all for that, 100%.
Yeah. Those mud flaps, were they put on the car specifically for the one dirt race, or is that something different? Y'all know?
I think it's for. Go for it. No, you're good.
Yeah. So the short track package is the mud flaps, the rain light, and then they're gonna run them the sprinkle tires too, if it sprinkles. But yeah, I think it's a combination, and that thick wiper blade. So.
Gotta have that thick wiper blade for downforce, apparently.
Yeah.
I've seen like different angles also, like teams messing around. They're just going to wind tunnel just to test out windshield wiper angles. It's pretty ridiculous. But I've also heard the mud flaps kill, downforce. I don't know. I don't think we need to be racing in the rain. I've spotted Coda in the rain and Mid-Ohio on road courses, and those are bad enough. So I don't think we need to be doing ovals in the even light rain. I think we're all out on that.
Yeah. Well, regardless of whether or not Martinsville is a success this year, and whether or not they finally got the short track package finally figured out, Martinsville has been home to some of the best finishes, some of the best wrecks and paybacks, and some of the most dramatic things off of the track in pit road and what have you. And I kind of wanted to bring you guys on and watch some highlights from old Martinsville and just get your reactions, memories, whatever you want to say about it. So I'm going to roll that real quick.
Oh boy.
Harry Gant back in the day. I think it said 1991.
I was gonna say it's gotta be 90s, right? I love that car, by the way. But
yeah, it's killer.
Cool Bandit car.
I think if you see that in your mirror, you gotta pull over. You're not gonna wrestle with that thing.
Come on.
Oh my lord.
That was a Monte Carlo, right?
I didn't see.
Oh, thing looks so sick. Martinsville looks so much different in these old videos. Just like
I know it has watching turns. The turns are smaller, right?
Yeah, like it looks like it. It's like watching. It's like watching an old Bristol video too. Oh, I remember this one. This is a good one.
3 wide.
Yeah, old Bloomin' Newman coming through here. Boom.
I remember being mad about this one because I was a Jimmy fan and blamed it on Clint Boyer.
Yeah. That's when Hendrick was just absolutely dominant, and they just went there every time and just smoked him.
Yeah. Back when I worked for Lowe's.
Oh, boy. Oh.
No, should have brought Flores on for this highlight.
This is my all-time favorite Martinsville right here.
I love the crowd and how like everybody just blew up. Like everyone's
so pumped.
Yeah, everybody was on the side for Kenseth. That was awesome.
Cars are trashed. Yeah, that's awesome. Did they park him the week after this? Right?
Yeah, this was it.
Yeah, this is the big one. I love it. Mr. Wisconsin getting out there.
I don't remember what year this was, but it's crazy to think about how Logano has been in the league for like 10 years and killing it.
It is wild.
And he's 32 years old. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I believe
30,
this is Jeff's
30
last
wins too.
Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, this is
win.
we're getting dark out here. There's no light at the track yet. He's about to win at night, and I think this is when they were like, we need to have a night race at Martinsville after this win right here.
Yeah.
He's pumped, like Tom Cruise jumping on a couch and Oprah Winfrey set right there.
Good old JG.
Yeah. That was cool though.
Old Chase when he drove the 24 car.
Oh yeah.
I keep on forgetting that he drove the 24.
Yeah, very upsetting here.
Hamlin became the villain for a while.
Yep.
I mean, when you rough up the company car.
Yeah, right. This is about like Kyle Busch spinning Dale Jr. at Richmond. That's the same the same attitude fans had after this, I believe.
Some good racing. This is the end of that race where Chase got spun.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Martin Truex in Furniture Row.
And I think
that's the underdog.
That's the team that Spire bought that from them, I believe.
The charter, yeah.
Oof. Chaos
Yard
ensues.
sale.
Yeah. I do love a good complete track blocked at Martinsville, wreck though. It's always the best if no one has anywhere to go.
Look at that. Bottom lane. Jammed
Cars
up.
are trashed.
I was really bummed when they didn't start fighting here.
Yeah, right.
You hit me.
At least they took the helmets off, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's all right.
I'm okay with it.
So was that when Denny became the heel?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wreck the most popular driver.
Man, Logano does some really good burnouts. I mean,
yeah,
his burnout in Atlanta, that was phenomenal. And this is what he calls it, the Logano loop or something like that.
I didn't hear that.
Yep, I won.
Yeah,
that was the year that Truex won the championship, right? The next race was Homestead. Pretty sure.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to win the damn war or whatever.
Yeah. Which was cool.
Got it. The marbles there.
More Logano and Hamlin beef.
Oh yeah, I do remember the shove. Yeah.
You weren't there, were you, Greg?
No, I wasn't there for that one. I just remember Todd Gordon jumping in the middle of it. It was great.
That shove is really like, oh, you're questioning me now and my ability.
Again, sun's going down. This is more of when NASCAR says we need lights for this place to see these fights happen.
That's right.
Look, Chris Gabehart with a dad move on Denny. Like, you listen to me.
Oh, this is the meme right here, right? Yeah.
Short track racing.
It's just short track racing.
Oh, great.
And then the most recent Martinsville highlight.
Everyone in the booth.
That was the best. I love the reaction by those guys.
I love the video of the spotter audio from all the guys that got past that had no idea what was going on and if it actually worked. It was pretty epic.
I made sure to listen to Radioactive
right.
after that race because I knew it was going to be insane.
Brandon McReynolds, he's the one that spots for Ross, and you hear him just say, "Yep, Keep coming. he has no idea what's going on either.
Doesn't break stride. Yeah.
Yeah.
The in-car camera on Ross's sounds so violent.
Oh, it's so wild, dude.
You hear like every panel of the safer barrier. It was like
like a jet bird.
Denny just has no idea what just happened. I can't imagine we're basically we're locked into the final four, and then just seeing him come around the car on the outside. Like, that's gotta be.
I mean, he was maybe 100 yards away from being locked into the final four.
He's right there. Yeah.
And something about NASCAR and the storyline of who would beat you is the guy battling all year.
Yeah, the rival all year. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one car.
Well, yeah, I hope it's as good as that. We'll see.
Yep. We'll see. But all right. Well, Greg and TJ, man, I appreciate you guys coming on. It's cool just to talk about racing a little bit, and hopefully people out in Team Super Shoe enjoy it. So thank you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Do you want to predict where Corey's going to qualify for Martinsville like he did for Atlanta? Because he was spot on there. It was pretty impressive.
Sure. I'll go with P31. I think that sounds like a good spot.
Okay, all right.
I would say 28th.
Oh, I was gonna say 29, so I'm gonna go right in the middle.
The price is right, us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$1.
Yep. He almost got it all right. His other thing that he put out was he called up Chase and said that he I have a shot this weekend because you're not racing. So almost
not there. Yeah.
If Blaney got to his rear bumper, it would have been a different story. But I think the bottom line got split up there. So, but yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on the show. And until next time, you guys stay safe. God bless, and appreciate you guys' friendship.
Thanks for having us.
All right. See you, buddy.
TJ and Greg, thank you once again for coming on the Shoe Show. It means a lot that you guys still want to be on the show. Talk to me. We continue our friendship, and man, this Team Super Shoe is a big community. We all get together and root on the underdog of Corey LaJoie, and hopefully, in the future, he won't be the underdog. He will be, a main eventer. But for right now, we are all connected with Team Super Shoe. All started on Facebook. If you all haven't visited us, come visit us on Facebook. And if you're listening to the audio podcast, please rate and review. And if you are watching on YouTube, please share, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Please let people know you're listening and watching the Shoe Show, and where we all talk about our favorite underdog driver, Corey LaJoie. Otherwise, y'all, I appreciate you for another month of the Shoe Show. I will see you back on April 17th, where we had a pretty cool guest on, and I'm excited for you to hear the conversation that we had. So otherwise, y'all, God bless, stay safe, and go Corey LaJoie.